Hey all, Adam the Exacto Guru here. First off, let me apologize for the very erratic release schedule of my videos as of late. I've had some pretty major personal setbacks in the last month, which sort of culminated when my partner decided to leave me. Going forward, I intend to be more regular with the release of my videos, but I'm not at a point now where I can set a schedule in stone. Thank you so much for your continued patience, though. All that said, today's topic is one that Mr. Atheist brought to my attention in one of his most recent videos. I'm talking about a woman being held captive in Egypt, and her situation deals with some pretty heavy stuff, so I hope you'll bear with me. The woman in question is Al-Kashef, who is a transgendered human rights activist. She was taken prisoner during a police raid of her home in Giza on March 6th of this year. Malak was taken from her home to an undisclosed location, where her lawyers have been unable to contact her. Since that arrest, she has been brought before the Egyptian Supreme State Security Prosecutor, who has used the cover of proclaiming her to be aiding terrorist organizations to repeatedly extend her initial detention period of 15 days. According to Amnesty International, the arrest follows Malak's call to peaceful protest, an action she took following a train crash in Cairo, which killed 25 people and injured several more on February 27th. I want you to consider that, and remember that Egypt claims to support both freedom of expression and the right to peaceful assembly. I want you to also consider that Malak happens to be transgender herself and is undergoing gender-affirming surgery. Egypt currently refuses to acknowledge her as a woman, and as such, she is forced to register as a male on official documents. As a result, the Egyptian authorities have detained her in an institution for male prisoners. I want you to think about that for a minute with me. We're talking about a person who feels they are a woman, identifies as such, and does so very publicly. There should be no doubt in your mind, with the way prisons work, that all inmates at that institution knew about her status before she ever even arrived. Now, I want you to imagine what it would be like to be a woman trapped in a male prison, which is likely kept in squalor and not well guarded internally. A prison where men who have been found guilty of the most despicable acts we deal with in society are housed. This woman will be subject to acts of violence not limited to sexual harassment and potentially as bad as rape or murder. All this simply because she happens to identify as a woman and happens to currently have male genitalia. It is with this in mind that I, Mr. Atheist, and others like us ask you to join us in standing against this. Amnesty International has released a form letter calling for the release and acquittal of Malak Al-Kashef. We are asking that you fax a copy of this letter to the Office of the Prosecutor. The original deadline for these letters has passed as of May 21st. However, we are working to inundate the prosecutor's office with so many letters that they cannot continue to ignore this and sweep it under the rug. I have included a link to the letter in the description of this video, and I urge you to please take the time to print a copy and fax it. Unfortunately, our only way to reach this office is through fax, and I know that may cost some money for some folks. If anyone happens to have a method of faxing internationally for free, please comment below so that others can take action. I hope that you will all join us in this fight, remembering that these are some basic human rights which all people of all creeds and walks of life should have access to. This is behavior which we would tolerate from so few other governments and which we should not be tolerant of at all. Case in point, Justin Trudeau came under fire for his public statements against people being held captive in Syria and Iran. Yet my own government has been quiet and complacent about this issue. This has to change, and the time for that change is now. In that regard, I have also been working on a letter to send to my own government officials, and I implore you to do the same. Maybe with the power of their voices, we could enact this change with more urgency. Well, those are my thoughts for now, and this is one of the few times where I'm going to ask you to share this video with as many people as you can. I also want to take a minute and say a great, big, huge thank you to Zach, better known as Apostate, who gave me a big shout out on his recent video. If you haven't done so, please check out his channel. His content is far more entertaining than mine. I want to thank you for sticking with me this far, and if you have, please don't forget to like and subscribe. For now, I'm the Exacto Guru, reminding you to be excellent to each other.